Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and to another car review. I am standing here next to an $84,000 starting price electric BMW. You guys may remember a couple months ago I reviewed the i4 M50 and I explained how the i4 is really a tale of two cars because it's BMW's first serious attempt to enter the mass market, regular use, normal, and performance electric car game. The i4 went on sale around the exact same time as this, the iX. Now the iX is different from the i4 in the sense that unlike the i4, it's actually built from the ground up to be its own standalone model. Whereas the i4 is based on the 4 Series Grand Coupe, the iX is actually its own sort of thing. To be a real player these days in an electric car market, you have to make a good electric SUV because, let's face it, enthusiasts, that's what most people want these days. It definitely shows inside and out, especially considering the fact this is a ground up build of an electric car, that BMW really tried a lot harder with this thing than they did the i4. It's big, it's fast, and it's very, very heavy. It's actually just a smidge under 6,000 pounds, which is a lot, but when you consider the size of this thing and the fact that it's packed with batteries underneath, it sort of makes a little sense. What doesn't make sense to me is this front end styling. The whole front end of this car kind of spoils the look of the rest of it because I think, especially from the sides, this is actually a really good, really nicely styled car. The whole theme of the iX, I think, is to take BMW how it is now and move it into the future, and that kind of shines through the styling. Now hopefully these massive lung grills don't go anywhere and they stop with this car, but the rest of it is okay. In this world of modern cars, it's kind of helpful to have big grills and things because it hides parking sensors and radar cruise control and stuff like that. Moving down the side, these door handles, I like them a lot. It's weird because it's just like a hole in the door and you put your hand in, press a button, but it's satisfying to use. I like door buttons. But how does it do on practicality? Because anybody who buys something like this buys it so that they can use it every day. It's not a track car, it's not a mountain road car, it's an everyday car. So how does it do in that respect? Now we know that this is a standalone electric car, so I'm wondering, does it have a front trunk, which the i4 did not have? That was a serious mark against the i4 in the i4 versus Model 3 battle. I cannot find it, so I guess it doesn't open? I might be wrong and I might be a complete idiot, but I can't figure out how to open this front trunk, so I don't think there is one under here. Right, so I have been to google.com and have been enlightened on the fact that the iX does not have a front trunk, which really doesn't make any sense considering it's a standalone electric car as far as I know. So they could have given it a front trunk considering that's a major benefit of electric cars these days, or at least Tesla and Rivian, because they've figured out how to do front trunks. BMW apparently has not, but we'll forgive them for that for now. Let's have a look. The main rear trunk, and first thing you notice, carbon built chassis body, which is pretty cool. I like this exposed carbon here. You've got the mandatory lights can't be on a movable piece of bodywork thing, so when your iX breaks down or runs out of charge, which can happen because it's electric and it's a BMW, you're sitting on the side of the highway with your hazards on, you open the trunk to get something out, these will take over, so that's great. You'll be safe. But I mean, for such a large SUV, I would expect a little bit more back here. Also, the Tesla Model X has a third row seat. This does not have that. There's still the underfloor storage area, which is the biggest underfloor storage area I have seen in a car ever. Just like in the i4, I've got this hard storage cover, which means that a mandatory trunk release, which must be the first in an SUV like this, is needed. So that's there. Also, one nice thing for practicality is that I can fold down the rear seats just with a flick of a button. How 21st century is that, folks? I cannot bring them back up, so not as good as it could be. All right, so I've been a little harsh on the iX in terms of practicality, but let's face it, it should be better than this, but, and this is a big but, we get inside, close the door, and this is the start back here of what I think a marvelous interior. I am a tall person and I have tons and tons and tons of legroom, tons of headroom. I can sit back, you know, lounge a little bit. I can have a nap. Not really, it's not that comfortable, but it's pretty close. And this seat material, I mean, I think this is Alcantara, and don't exactly know what this is. It kind of feels a little bit like denim. I know it's not denim, but you get the idea. Seats have this really nice styling element to them. You got these shapes and lines. This is Alcantara, I think, or suede or something, and I don't know how this is gonna fare after when somebody like me is gonna buy it when it's 170,000 miles. But as a new car, it is so nice back here. I've got these really cool lights on the top of the door panels. It's a nice vibe, you know, it's just subtle, but it's also just, I don't know, there's something really satisfying about this blue light here. I've got 4 air vents for the back seats actually, and climate control for the back seats, which is great. Since it's a standalone electric car, iX doesn't have a transmission hump, obviously, so even the middle seat is quite comfortable. I've got 2 USB-C ports per seat. Just like in Tesla, however, where are my grab handles, you guys? Everybody wants a grab handle. Why would you take that away from us? I do not understand why Tesla and BMW now with the iX takes away our grab handles. Like, is there something about the future where we're supposed to not use our hands to hold on to things? I do not understand that. Practicality is not that great, but the back seat and the entire interior is amazing. And we step into the business end, the front of the BMW iX. Now, this is where it's quite easy to tell that BMW put a lot more effort, time, research, blood, sweat, and tears into making the iX the best that it can possibly be. You sit in the front of the iX and it feels like the BMW of the future. Nothing about this interior right now is anything like any BMW that is sold right now. Guarantee it. You get in the i4, and the i4 has a nice interior, but it's the interior of the 3 Series. You get in the iX, and it's a completely different thing. We'll start from the windshield. You move down, and this is almost an unnecessarily large air vent. It's like the grills on the outside. It's bigger than it needs to be. Moving over to the side, I've got, again, I really love this door panel here. It is so beautiful. It's got a bit of a Mercedes element to it because I've got my seat controls up on the door panel, which Mercedes has been doing for years. So it's a little bit weird to see in a BMW. You get in, you go to adjust your seat, and it's not there. It's actually on the door. It's a nice place, and it actually does come with its own little design element. It looks nice, functional, modern, beautiful. A button to open the door. And even opening the door and getting out of this car is just an amazing experience because I put my hand through here. I grab onto this little, there's like kind of like a little grip thing on the inside, and it just fits your hand so beautifully, and it feels amazing, and I just go and, oh, yes. That's luxury, I gotta say. If this button fails, there is a manual release down here, which is not recommended that you use. Me saying all these materials on the interior are beautiful does come with a slight caveat, which is I don't know how this is gonna wear down the line, but as a new car, it's really, really nice. There is a bit of cheap plastic down here, it feels, which you shouldn't have in a, you really shouldn't be able to find anything of the sort in an $84,000 starting price car. Overall, the interior is just lovely and amazing and beautiful, and it feels like the future. If this is where BMW is going in the future, then I am 100% all for that. This steering wheel is really nice and chunky and feels good in your hands. I've got this opening down here that goes all the way down to the floor because, again, no transmission tunnel needed in this car. I've got cup holders here, which is a pretty good place for cup holders because often you see cup holders put on top of buttons and things where, let's face it, you're driving an electric SUV, you're gonna have Starbucks in here a lot. It's gonna drip down and all you need to worry about is cleaning the carpet, so that's pretty nice. I've got a wireless charger for my phone, and if your phone is from 2007, there are 2 USB-C ports as well, which is really nice. And we move on to xDrive50, which is pretty much the exact same as it is in the BMW i4. You got multiple widgets. It's really nice to respond to your touch. You can use it with this lovely crystal classic BMW hallmark, the spinning dial thing, or you can use the touch screen if you want to burn your fingers in the summer. Another thing that I want to touch on, which I did in the i4 review, look at how many applications this car has. Do you really need all of this? Let's set myself a challenge here. It's a BMW. We're on the Nürburgring. Where do I go to turn off the traction control? Driving settings. Steering intervention. I don't like the sound of that. I just want to turn off the traction control. Why? It's not fair. Log in with BMW ID. Okay, I don't have that. I do have a BMW, but it's way too old to have BMW ID. Basically, I'm proving my point, which is the fact that this infotainment system has a bit too much crammed into it, to where if you want to do something simple, which you should be able to do in most cars, turn out the traction control or whatever, good luck finding it in under 20 minutes. This is what people demand from their cars. They demand tons and tons of apps and garbage that they don't really need. Overall, it is a really nice infotainment system. I like how it's stuck on these 2 posts, so it kind of looks like it's floating. One thing I don't like is, even more so than in the i4, they've crammed all of the climate menu things into a separate menu that you have to go to, which nobody really likes that except for Tesla owners apparently. And what's weird is that the only 2 buttons you get to use for climate control are for defrosters, which I don't understand. The BMW iX has a much nicer interior than the i4 or pretty much any car I've ever been in with my limited experience. So good job BMW on the interior of the iX. That's where you're going to be pretty much all the time, so that's sort of a make it or break it case, and they definitely made it with the interior. So there is a somewhat thorough tour of the BMW iX SUV. And now it's time for the really big question. How well does this big 6,000 pound thing drive? Let's take it on the road and find out. Alrighty, here we go. Driving the BMW iX. Very excited. Now, it's time to start it. Just kidding. Modern electric car. This thing, I bet EV owners don't even know what it is. Press this button. Nice light steering, because of course it's an electric car, so regular power steering is completely not even in part of the question. Just a little bit of maneuverability in this parking lot here, because it is a really big car. And I gotta say, what a turning circle. I mean, that's not bad for something this size. Sitting in the car right now, it is whisper quiet, as it should be for an electric vehicle. This thing feels huge driving it. This steering wheel, I really like how it fits and feels in my hand. Sitting in this interior, it feels like it's from the future. It genuinely makes every other BMW feel old-fashioned, in my opinion. It's a beautiful interior, and I really love it. This is the xDrive50, and it has 516 horsepower, and it's not even the top version. So let's get it out here. Whoa, that was a surprise. Okay, I had the iconic sounds on this time, so it just took off and it felt like I was in some sort of Star Trek movie. I mean, wow. The regenerative braking, yeah, that works. Jeez. Whoa. Yeah, it's a lot more fun with the sounds on. Jesus Christ. This is a bit of an uneven, rough road surface. which is where you can kind of hear the tire noise, which is a problem with electric cars. And honestly, it's not too bad. In my opinion, it's not really that annoying. I try to turn the iconic sounds off. Okay. So now we've got iconic sounds off. So let's see how that changes the experience when we floor the gas and the throttle. Wow. Honestly, that feels faster than the i4, which is a major surprise. I know it's 516 horsepower, it's an electric car, yes, but it's 6,000 pounds. It is so large and it's so heavy that I just didn't think that it would feel that fast, but it definitely hauls. It also, I tested the handling a little bit, and it's also not too bad. This thing really disguises its weight really well. That's sort of something that the i4 is really good at, but in the iX, you notice it a lot easier than in the i4. I mean, this thing it's pretty impressive the way it drives. When I look down, this whole open area does kind of give off minivan vibes to me. It's weird being able to see my entire leg going down and then my foot on the gas electric pedal. It's a little bit weird, but it's still cool. I like having this whole open area down here because you don't need a transmission tunnel. I want to turn iconic sounds back on for this because it's way more fun. Way more fun. All right, there's a Passat there. I'm going to catch him. Wow. This isn't even the top version of the iX. I'm pretty sure there's an M60 on its way, which is going to have a lot more power, and I find that absolutely astonishing. When I'm driving it like that, I don't think about the practicality problems and the hideous front end. Wow. This iconic sounds thing is such a stupid gimmick. Sometimes you love stupid gimmicks, and I think it's hilarious. You never hear it when you're just regularly driving, like regular acceleration. You just don't really hear it that much. It's there, but it's like quiet, so it's not in your face about it and, you know, being loud and annoying. So energy recovery, we're gonna go high. Yeah. So this is like the one pedal driving in Teslas. I mean, this is about what you'd expect. And you can also turn the creep on and all that stuff like you can in the Model 3 and probably the other Teslas that I haven't driven yet. There's definitely body roll, but it's not excessive. I mean, it handles, of course it's electric, all the batteries are on the floor, so it's got a nice low center of gravity. You definitely notice that when feeling the turns. It does roll. There is definitely body roll. It is a big, massive, heavy thing, but it handles quite well. I think the Model 3 Performance is the most fun, exciting, probably one of the most exciting cars I've ever driven. But this, I think, is a close second, which is pretty impressive. And I would love to see what the M60 is like when that comes out. I can only imagine how fast that thing is gonna be. Gonna be absolutely just insane. This thing starts at $87,000. I think it was 87. It could have been 84, but it does feel 87,000 worth of car to me from behind the wheel. It really does. It's really impressive. You have to go iconic sounds. It's amazing. So wanted to thank BMW of Murray for lending me this car. My good buddy that works here, always helping me out with these amazing cars. If anyone has any BMW recommendations that they want me to try out, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And I'll be back with another video quite soon. So thanks everybody for watching. Bye-bye.